How African mothers traditionally trim hair.
Hi there! Today we get to learn how hair is trimmed today in Africa alongside Stone Age era insights. In traditional Africa, there were no razors or scissors, not even barber shops. But hair had to be trimmed. If you may wonder how it was trimmed, there was existence of pots and stones, call it Stone Age era. Broken pot pieces such as these would be used. They would be sharpened on a stone and later sharpened on a rough sharp knife as this elder demonstrates. But first the knife would be sharpened against a knife before use. The sharpened edge of a broken pot would now be so sharp like a razor for use in shaving the head. That's how in ancient traditional Africa, specifically in Akalai culture, hair was shaved. Today, we have barber shops, razors, and scissors. However, in villages, people mostly use razor to shave or trim the hair off. Though most people prefer barber shops equipment that use electricity, it can still be very expensive for some that they resort to use of razor blades, especially for children. Here, we concentrate on the Akalai traditional way of shaving hair of a child by a mother using a razor blade. The process started with washing hands, and here at step 2, we see washing of the head to be trimmed. The person's head, in this case a child, is washed with soap. It's important to wash the head before cutting hair. School is starting again, so most children have their hair shaved before school start. This was an important aspect to consider so that the girl didn't lose her hair. Almost all schools across sub-Saharan Africa, especially in villages, requires children to trim their hair before school start. African hair is very unique and many times hard to manage with strands that keep coiled to the skin. Hence, most adults keep it plaited in African braids while children cut it off. The extra water is wiped off around the neck, ears, and eyes to make the person comfortable before cut. Step 3. Comb the hair. This helps to loosen all hair strands for easy cutting. Step 4. Shaving or trimming process. This involves getting a razor blade. It should be brand new to avoid any stagnancy or rust that may affect the skin during the head shaving process. Shaving can start anywhere in the middle of the head or sideways. Here the process started from middle of the head, before we round it off. Carefulness is required at start as you dig through, especially if it's been a while since one has used this method. And some razors can be really sharp. The mother here made a slight mistake where she quickly started fast that a tiny pimple top was cut. However, it was quickly overcome. The bleeding stopped and we quickly smoothened through. It did not cause any pain. Therefore, some head skin can be smooth out. Hers may have several pimples beneath the hair to be very aware and careful before trimming start. Here, we see the child is now comfortable as the mother applies more pressure to the pimple skin that was slightly cut. It keeps both of the comfortable. Also, the angle is important, so the child being trimmed is below, and the mother the trimmer above, visible of all head aspects and any signs of pain. The child being aware her hair falling plays with it. She is used to her hair being cut every holiday before school time. When the hair is dry, it coils, good to comb through to loosen the strands again. In Akalai culture, they use only the razor blade to cut. However, in other cultures they combine the razor and comb to cut. Here, the mother was trying to demonstrate. However, she is unaware of this method. Hence, we return back to the traditional use of the razor blade. After cutting one section of the hair, the other section will be dry, so it will be essential to get extra water and wet the hair again. This helps the razor blade through easily. We finished the front section, now it's the back section. The friends will patiently play by in waiting. If there are other extra children to be shaved, they play close in waiting. This was the traditional way of shaving hair. However, today most children and parents prefer going to the salons where electricity equipment is used. However, this method may be expensive for some families that have to resort back to the simple use of a razor blade. This type of trimming is easy as all hair is cut. However, if one needs a few inches of hair, it needs more technicality, especially for older persons. Yes, sometimes it can be a little painful, say ticklish, just like also in barber shops. The cutter may stop or shift a bit. Also, maybe a tiny pimple head was pricked along the way, but it gets better in seconds. That's also an indication that section is dry. Therefore, more water is patted in the hair to ease the cut and remove any pain. Then proceeding to cut that section again. There was still a little pain, but it was probably due to pimples on the head that had little razor scraps. But smooth areas should be fine. We would stop shooting in between to check on the comfort of the child. Before a second cut through to remove any extra hairs missed, water is applied to wet the head for smoothness. Here, we can have a closer look at how the head is now smoothed out, but carefully cutting the pimple heads. Having cut the hair, the side of the head all around is also trimmed out. Any extra hair sticking on the razor is wiped off to ensure a clear, clean razor cut, especially around the head corners. The blade may be a little less sharp at this moment.
Oh, okay.
The child knows the completion process and begins exploring out the shaved head. Here, final trimming is done for the forehead and eyebrows, temples, and all around the face to remove any extra hair growth.
I'm not crying, but checking out if my eyebrows are still there.
After the haircut, lemon is applied to the head. It acts as a natural spirit to cover any cuts or wounds as it soothes the head. It can be painful at first touch, hence to be applied carefully for a child. There we go. Thank you for joining us to learn about our ancient and current traditional way of trimming hair. If you enjoy our series, we appreciate to support us by clicking the subscribe button. The razor, like any other equipment, is cleaned. It's advisable to throw it away, but for recycling purposes, it can be used to cut other things like threads for plaiting a child's hair, as we shall see in a future documentary.